Modus operandi, noun. A particular way or method of doing something, especially one that is characteristic or well established. The way in which something operates or works.
Nerderotic.com.
Was the plot for Star Trek Picard stolen by Alex Kurtzman and CBS? Well, Robert Meyer Burnett dropped a bomb on the Star Trek franchise a little over a week before the Star Trek convention in Las Vegas, and right during the time they were announcing everything at Comic-Con. And this is a black eye for the great eye of CBS. Another one, and I'm thinking they don't care. I'm thinking they sign off on this stuff because we also know that they are being sued by Anas Abdin, the creator of the point-and-click adventure game Tardigrades. Of course, he created the giant blue tardigrade that travels instantaneously in time and space, and of course there's a character like that in Star Trek Discovery. There are also other similarities, which we will go over briefly right now. And then we will get into what I believe is the second victim of theft by CBS, well, the second one that we know of. Going from left to right, we have our main character traveling instantaneously in time and space using the tardigrade, surrounded by a bunch of blue glowy flecks. And in the picture next to it, we have Michael Burnham in the stasis chamber of the mycelium network, surrounded by a bunch of glowy blue flecks as she is traveling instantaneously in time and space through the power of the giant blue tardigrade. Then we have Aziz, a gay man of color. And then we have Dr. Hugh Calder, a gay man of color. Aziz is in a relationship with Maciak, a botanist who is blonde and white. And we have Hugh Calder in a relationship with Paul Stamets, who is a doctor who is blonde and white. And he is also named after the real-life Paul Stamets, the mushroom guy. Go check out his interview on Joe Rogan. It's pretty interesting. Then we have Yolanda, a woman of color. Notice this yellow jumpsuit. There's something I want to show you in a second. She is a lot like Michael Burnham, a woman of color. And if you take this picture of Michael Burnham in her yellow prison jumpsuit, well, that looks a lot more alike. Then, of course, we have Natasha, a white woman with frizzy red hair, and we have Sylvia Tilly, a white woman with frizzy red hair. Last but not least, we have the giant blue tardigrade that travels instantaneously through time and space in the game Tardigrades. And we have the giant blue tardigrade that helps the starship Discovery travel instantaneously through time and space in Star Trek Discovery. Now, aside from the tardigrade, independently, you can call these things coincidences. When these things are all put together, it goes way beyond coincidence. Then we get to Bryan Fuller, who is the original creator of Star Trek Discovery, but he is not named that I know of in the lawsuit because he did not create the giant blue tardigrade that traveled instantaneously in time and space. He came up with a tardigrade concept that was anthropomorphic, but not this. And he did create Michael Burnham, but everything after Bryan Fuller left is Alex Kurtzman, and you see Alex Kurtzman's modus operandi. He comes in, picks something up, copies a lot of stuff from a lot of people, or pays homage. And he does that within almost every episode of Star Trek Discovery as well, especially in the finale of Star Trek Discovery Season 2, where he borrows from multiple science fiction television shows and films, as chronicled by my good friend the Anti-Trekker. That link will be in the description as well. There's going to be a lot of videos to watch because I'm not going to get into the details because I'm not a lawyer. I am here trying to convince you in the court of public opinion, just me and Q right here. Now, I was listening to this live stream, and this is what Robert Meyer Burnett said 2 days ago about the Picard trailer.
We've heard rumors and talk of people who might come back. Will they bring back any of the Next Generation cast? What's happening? I think one of the surprising things about the trailer reveal at San Diego Comic-Con, was the inclusion of Jonathan Del Arco from the Star Trek The Next Generation episode I, Borg, and Seven of Nine, Jerry Taylor's Seven of Nine. And clearly they're leaning heavily into the Borg mythology. We've also seen that the Romulans are a big part of this Picard show. Very, very interesting. But what I found most interesting about that is I'd heard all of this before. This concept for a Picard series. It was something that I already knew about, and I'd already heard about it. And I'd heard about it from Bryan Fuller. Bryan Fuller pitched I don't know exactly how he pitched it, but he came up with this idea, or a version of this idea that was actually registered with the WGA.
Now, I do want to point out that Robert Meyer Burnett and I do not see eye to eye on a lot of things, including the MCU, but we do see eye to eye on Star Trek and Star Trek Discovery. Similarities. This is a word that's associated with Alex Kurtzman's Star Trek quite a bit lately, and there are a lot of similarities, according to Robert Meyer Burnett, to Brian Fuller's Data and Picard pitch. He pitched apparently 5 shows when he was still running Star Trek, and this is one of them. And it was quite shocking to Robert Meyer Burnett, and I guess to Brian Fuller, according to RMB. This was also reported on by Midnight's Edge. So what I do want to point out is CBS own the rights to Star Trek, so they have probably every right to use this story, but they should give him credit. Do they have to? I'm not really sure on that one, and we'll have to find out. Probably not, but it's still morally pretty wrong. But again, this happens in Hollywood quite a bit. I would like to point out that my good friend Derek Robertson co-created Happy, but you wouldn't know that if you watch the TV show because his name is buried at the end of season 1 and completely removed from season 2. I didn't see it anywhere. Maybe I missed it. But yeah, that kind of thing happens all the time. Now, I noticed this. This isn't anything Derek told me, but this happens quite a bit, and it sucks because people suck in Hollywood. But this will help Anas Abdin, in my opinion, because it shows that Alex Kurtzman and CBS have a propensity to do something like this. Again, not a lawyer, but I think it's pretty good to bring up. What do you think? That's what I want to know. But here is what the concept of this show was that Robert Meyer Burnett reported on Midnight's Edge. The story begins after Ambassador Spock has disappeared into a rupture in the space-time continuum, creating the Kelvin timeline in JJ Trek. This takes place in the Prime universe, however you want to take that, folks. Maybe it's the 25% difference, maybe it's not, but I'm guessing it is. Picking up with the Next Generation's crew's adventures, Romulus is going through a worldwide evacuation as its star is about to go supernova. Leading that evacuation is Captain Data, coordinating a massive effort with a fleet of starships. Romulus's star explodes, creating a shockwave that is racing towards the planet. Captain Data thinks quickly, employing 7 of 9 and a fleet of Borg expats from the long-defeated Borg to save as many as possible with mass assimilation technology. It's a brilliant and terrifying move, and a questionable one. The mission is only a partial success. Those rescued were traumatized by the Borg ships appearing in their atmosphere and scooping up Romulans as if they were being assimilated. This creates questions about Data's leadership style and insensitivity to organics. Meanwhile, Ambassador Picard is having a difficult time finding a home for Romulan refugees. Vulcan wants nothing to do with them. Starfleet has concerns with Data's support of 7 of 9 and the Borg expats. Starfleet draws Picard into direct conflict with Data. Picard's concerns are based on his abduction, imprisonment, and brainwashing by the Borg. His trust in Data, now a captain with considerable accomplishments, is being challenged. Making matters worse, Picard fears his eromotic syndrome is waking up and loosening his grip on reality. His own saving grace could come with help from the Borg and returning to his time as Locutus of Borg to save the past, the present, and himself.
So that was something that initially came from Brian Fuller. He apparently was related to me that he told me that it was registered with the WGA, the Writers Guild of America. And he also said he contacted both Brent Spiner and Jerry Ryan and spoke to them about this idea. Brian said he'd pitched 5 series, and they have 2 of them in development, and another based on an original character he created for Discovery. And so that's and Brian Fuller, I spoke with him today, and he said that I can say that he spoke with both Jerry Ryan and Brent Spiner about reprising their roles while he was still working on Star Trek.
And just before we went live, you also said the new trailer made him cry.
That's what he said. Yeah.
Wow.
And not in a good way, you said.
No. Yeah.
And that's not all, folks. Now, if you happen to watch any of my reviews of Star Trek Discovery Season 2 or actually watched the show on CBS All Access, you would know that the villain was a rogue Section 31 and artificial intelligence. An artificial intelligence that wasn't quite yet an artificial intelligence, yet it still had the desire to be an artificial intelligence. I still can't get my head around that, and you don't have to worry or don't have to try because we are dealing with an Alex Kurtzman joint. Well, there just so happens to be a book by David Mack called Section 31 Control. And look at the release date of that book, March 28, 2017, during Alex Kurtzman's reign as executive producer of Star Trek Discovery. And I don't believe I've seen David Mack's name on anything from Star Trek Discovery Season 2. Again, I got this information from Robert Meyer Burnett, but it shows another instance of having the propensity to borrow other people's work, in my opinion. And you know what's really bad about this is the Pulitzer Prize winning Michael Chabon has signed off on this. In my opinion, how disappointing is that? How much did Akiva Goldsman know? How much did Heather Caden or Christian Byer know? How much did Alex Kurtzman know? Well, we'll never know. Of course, they're going to plead ignorant or not say anything at all, but I think they all had to sign off on this, in my opinion. And I feel really bad for Brian Fuller. I'm going to be walking around the Star Trek convention in about a week with a hashtag Justice for Anas t-shirt. I have room on the back for a hashtag Justice for Brian Fuller. If you're watching, man, I feel bad for you, and I would have much rather have watched your Star Trek. Now, we started this video with modus operandi, and this is definitely Alex Kurtzman and Star Trek's MO. Turmoil behind the set, fired showrunners, going over budget, delays, and, in my opinion, theft. Now, I want to give full credit to everybody involved in the making of this video. Robert Meyer Burnett, please subscribe to the Burnett Network. Midnight's Edge, Andre over there is awesome. And Tom and Rob, please subscribe to Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge After Dark. And we can't forget Mecha Random 42. We heard her voice in there briefly in the soundbite, so please subscribe to her too. And we may be all together at the Star Trek convention in over a week, which I cannot wait for. Things are going to get interesting, and this cannot be a good look for CBS, but I'm starting to think they just don't care. Maybe they just don't think there's an internet. I'm not really sure, but I would like to hear what you think in the comment section, and please share this video around. I want this to get around, and do not forget my good friend Anas Abdin. Again, that video will be linked with many others in the description. Now, you're not going to hear about this in the Access media, but don't worry, we got you covered. Have a great day, and may the free folks sing songs of your greatness.
Nerderotic.com. Please subscribe.